Hello and welcome. Daniela explores when to visit the Shipka. This is the St. Nicholas Mount. It is a peak in the Balkan Mountains near the town of Gabrovo, Bulgaria. It is 1,326 meters above sea level. It is to the east of the Shipka Pass. In 1951, during the communist era, the peak was renamed Mount Stoletov. General Stoletov led the defense of the Shipka Pass during the Russo-Turkish War of 1877-1878. But naming the peak after a general from Russia Tsarist past didn't go well with Leonid Brezhnev, the leader of the Soviet Union. So, since Brezhnev's visit to Bulgaria in 1964, the peak had no name officially. Eventually, in 1977, the peak was renamed Shipka, although there was already a Shipka. This is the Monument of Freedom. It was opened in 1934. The monument resembles a medieval Bulgarian fortress. It commemorates the Battles of the Shipka. During the Russo-Turkish War, 1877-1878, the defense of the pass was of strategic importance, as it prevented fresh troops and supplies from reaching parts of the Ottoman army fighting in northern Bulgaria. But history is like a ribbon made of many threads, and there is always a something that happened before this something happened. And as your narrator, the choice of where to begin is mine. So let's do a bit of time traveling as we climb. It is the early mid-1800s. Modern industry is spreading across Europe. It is a time of economic mobility. The stress here is on mobility. People move to the new industrial centers. Towns get bigger with the influx of workers, and new cities are born around new economic centers. New technologies change the way we grow food, the way we make things, the way we build, the way we travel. There are the landowners and industrialists, but there is also a very varied middle class, a mosaic of small to medium businesses, shops, specialized workshops, food manufacturers, traders, transport and delivery businesses. They are the backbone of the new emerging interconnected industrial economies. And as supply chains lengthen, demands on goods and services increase. These businesses need to grow. They need people that can write and speak in multiple languages, can do bookkeeping, write contracts, understand and use the law to protect their businesses, and much more. But these are family businesses, so they educate their children, and a new group emerges of highly educated young men who travel for education and business. And these young men talk to the people they meet. They discuss news, share knowledge and ideas. Napoleon has been defeated, and at the Congress of Vienna, Europe is divided up among the European powers. But defeating Napoleon has not eradicated some of the ideas that traveled with his armies across Europe. These ideas have their roots in the Enlightenment and underpinned the French Revolution. Ideas such as people are citizens, not feudal subjects, for a monarch to do as they wish with. Citizens have rights and duties. Citizens are equal before the law. Citizens have a right to decide who governs them. And in the 1800s, these ideas sparked revolts and revolutions across Europe, from Ireland to Russia. There is mobility of people and ideas. Next, you need something to unite the people. And in Bulgaria, the work of Paisii Hilendarski, Slavonic Bulgarian history, provides a blueprint for a Bulgarian identity that is separate and independent from the Ottoman rulers. The next ingredient is economics. The Napoleonic Wars and then the Crimean Wars were costly. Taxes have to go up. In addition, new technologies are both creating new opportunities, but are also destroying traditional industries. Not everybody can find a job in a factory. Not every business can make the transition to the new industrial phase. For many, income is going down. While they are faced with tax hikes, corrupt officials, obsolete bureaucracies, and, in the Ottoman Empire, religious discrimination. As a rule, non-Muslims paid higher taxes. And finally, you need some extraordinary people. One of these is Georgi Rakovski. Georgi Rakovski is a brilliant writer. Both his patriotic writings and speeches inspired a generation of freedom fighters. He believed that for the revolutionary movement to succeed, it needed a central leadership that could orchestrate a countrywide uprising. He also valued training and organized a military training camp in Serbia. The Bulgarian Legion attracted many young men. Among them is Vasil Levski. Vasil Levski shares many of Rakovski's ideas, but he differs from the teacher in some key aspects. Rakovski believes that revolution can be started from outside Bulgaria, with bands of Chetniks, Bulgarian freedom fighters, entering into the country and sparking a revolution. Levski disagrees. He believes that the revolution must start inside Bulgaria. In secrecy and at great risk of being captured, Levski travels across Bulgaria and establishes a network of revolutionary committees. He sets out rules for the committees. He demands transparent accounting. The members must collect funds and weapons and be ready to mobilize on a secret signal. They must work in secrecy. They must not betray fellow revolutionaries. They must not put themselves and others at risk unnecessarily, but they are expected to lay down their lives for the revolution. Levski wanted a democratic Bulgaria. He wrote that all citizens must be equal, regardless of ethnicity or religion, equality before the law, and the right to self-govern through a majority voting system. Levski tells his fellow revolutionaries that the fight is against the Ottoman despotic system, not against Turkish people or their religion. Levski is caught and betrayed. He is executed in Sofia in 1873. Levski could bring people together and inspire them, and ordinary men and women had true respect and love for him. But without him, the Revolutionary Committee begins to fracture. Ottoman troops are busy fighting the uprising in Bosnia and then Herzegovina, 1875-1877, and this creates a window of opportunity. Even without a clear leadership, the Bulgarian revolutionaries decide to start an uprising. In 1875, the Ottoman authorities quell the uprising in Stara Zagora. In 1876, a coordinated rebellion involving nearly all the revolutionary cells inside the country begins. The Ottoman authorities are tipped off in advance, and the April Uprising ends in a bloodbath. Nearly 80 settlements are burnt to the ground. About 30,000 men, women, and children are killed. The scale of the violence makes the international news. In Russia, there is public outrage, and civil and religious societies advocate for Russia to intervene to stop the mass slaughter of fellow Slavs and Orthodox Christians. And in 1877, the Russian army crosses the Danube into Bulgaria. The Russian army is joined by the Bulgarian Volunteer Corps. Progress is good, and in July the Front Squad and 4 Bulgarian Volunteer Corps under General Gurko and General Stoletov are welcomed in Stara Zagora. But a huge Ottoman army under the command of Suleiman Pasha is approaching. Stara Zagora begins to fill up with refugees. they tell of the atrocities committed by the Ottomans. The Battle of Stara Zagora begins. The Russian troops and Bulgarian volunteers number 4,500. The Ottoman army is 48,000. The fight is brutal, but in the end the Russian and Bulgarian troops have to retreat. The survivors of the bloody battle march to the top of this mountain and take their defensive positions. At Suleiman Pasha's orders, Stara Zagora is burned to the ground. The estimate is that 14,500 Bulgarians were killed and another 10,000 kidnapped and sold into slavery. The battles of the Shipka begin in August 1877. General Stoletov has under his command a Russian-Bulgarian detachment of about 7,500 soldiers. Suleiman Pasha has about 37,000. For 6 days, Bulgarians and Russians repelled the Ottoman forces, but they are running out of ammunition, and the Ottomans are about to encircle their defensive positions. In the nick of time, reinforcements arrive, and the Ottoman forces are pushed back. The battle rages on, but the Russian and Bulgarian forces hold the pass. The war continues, but the tide has turned. The Ottomans cannot stop the Russian and Bulgarian forces' advance. Among the Bulgarian volunteers there are people like Nikola Korchev, the man in the painting by Yaroslav Veshin. Nikola Korchev had a normal life, but one evening 2 drunken Ottomans tried to rape his wife and daughter. In the fight that follows, he kills them both. He knows the authorities will come for him, so he has to leave his family and his home. He joins the Bulgarian volunteer army. Some men were inspired to join by the words and actions of leaders like Levski. Some of them have fought in the previous failed uprising and cannot go home. Some have not got a home to go back to. The villages have been burnt down, their loved ones killed. Most of them are men, but there are women and children too. They help, they cook, launder, bandage wounds, look after the sick, bring water and food and ammunition to the soldiers in the front line. The determination showed by the people on this peak mirrors, in my opinion, Levski's words. If I win for the entire people. If I lose only myself. This is a very short outline of the history of the fight for Bulgaria independence, up to the end of the Russo-Turkish War. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, that helps me a lot. I publish in English on Tuesdays, Italian on Wednesdays, and Bulgarian on Thursdays. Thank you for watching, stay curious, have a lovely day, bye bye!